Welcome back to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. So, with the release of the Epstein files, it's been quite the interesting turn of events from the Democrats. Because remember, before the release of the Epstein files, they were like, Donald Trump is a pedophile. We don't have any evidence to prove that, but we're still going to say it because you guys won't release the Epstein files. Free. And then they released it, and it turns out, now if you're watching mainstream media, you're not going to see this information. You're not going to see it on a headline on CNN.com. You're not going to hear them bloviate about it on MSNBC. This has gone very, very underreported, that it turns out, just as I predicted, and so many others who actually have common sense and brains, that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein hated each other, mostly because Donald Trump called the police on Epstein in 2006. This is one of the only outlets that reported on this was Forbes. Trump reportedly called police about Epstein in 2006 and said Ghislaine Maxwell was evil. Now, again, I realize that the document drop was last week? But now we're finding all of this out. You've got, millions of files to sift through. And it turns out CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, they don't want to report on this because it disputes the narrative that they've been pushing to you for, since January 20th of last year. Now, no word on that the 4 years before with Joe Biden at the helm, with them in charge. They were in charge. No talk of releasing the Epstein files because Orange Man bad. Now, all of a sudden, they got to talk about it. And now, all of a sudden, they don't want to talk about it. Curious, isn't it? Now, this was revealed when unsealed court documents showed how President Trump called the police on Epstein. In the file, it says, Trump said Maxwell was Epstein's operative. Quote, she is evil and to focus on her. Trump told Redacted that he was around Epstein once when teenagers were present and Trump, quote, got the hell out of there, end quote. Trump was one of the very first people to call when people found out that they were investigating Epstein, which totally tracks with everything we already knew. Like, it's absolutely, these people are screaming bloody murder about how terrible Trump is, about how he's committed crimes, about how he's a pedophile. He was Jeffrey Epstein's bestie because there's like one picture of them together. No mention, by the way, of Bill Clinton or Bill Gates and whatever the hell STD he got. No mention on that, but Orange Man bad. We have a very long track record on President Trump and his behavior once he found out that Jeffrey Epstein was a total perv. We already have the facts. And this is my victory lap, okay? Everything we said has been true. And I didn't even have proof at the time, but it's just like you take all of these things and put them together in a way that makes sense. You already could tell that this was true. Here's another one. A former police chief from Palm Beach, Florida, who investigated Jeffrey Epstein in the mid-2000s, also mentioned Trump's eagerness to catch Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the headline. Ex-police chief says Trump told him, thank goodness you're stopping Epstein in the 2000s. You're not going to hear this on CNN. You're not going to hear total vindication, just like you didn't hear total vindication when the Russia hoax. When that jig was up, they were like, well, actually, it doesn't say that he didn't commit collusion. It just says they can't prove it. Well, actually, guys, it's always been this way. We've always known it to be this way. And remember, I told you guys when Speaker of the House Mike Johnson was talking to the press and he had an oopsies, he accidentally let the truth slip. He had to walk it back later on. It was very awkward because he said it in such a way. He's like, well, yeah, I mean, remember, everyone knows that President Trump was an FBI informant on Epstein, duh. And everyone was like, wait, what? No, wait, did you just say Trump was an FBI informant? Like, this is shocking news. We've never known that. And he's like, oh, what I meant was, if you don't remember that, take a look.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms.
I want to get our body language expert on to talk about that. It's one of my very favorite clips because you see him process in real time the oopsies, and he stumbles on his next word because he's like, well, Trump was an FBI informant. Oh, shit. Play that again, Stephen.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms.
Mike Johnson, totally vindicated. Sara Gonzales, totally vindicated. Most importantly, Donald Trump, totally vindicated. Let the record reflect. Anytime a Democrat wants to tell you, I see it all the time. I don't even know how manufactured it is. I don't even know how real life it is versus the bots. But anytime I tweet anything, they're like, okay, pedo protector. Like, okay. Send them this clip. Send them this video. Show them the files from the Epstein files, the documents that show that Donald Trump was the one who called the cops on him in the first place. Send them that information. Now, again, on top of that, don't forget Bradley Edwards, the attorney who represented Epstein accusers and victims. He was on the record as well, saying that President Trump was the only person who was willing to talk and was actually like extremely the most helpful person in their investigation.
I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009.
So Donald Trump, totally vindicated. I do have some questions about some others. I do have some questions about Congress. Because what I know is that Ghislaine Maxwell just yesterday appeared in a deposition. And in that deposition, she, like, predictably, she was just like, I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth. I don't know that we need to play the whole clip here, but here's some of that.
Ms. Maxwell, were you a close friend and confidant of Jeffrey Epstein?
I would like to answer your question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions. My habeas petition is pending in the Southern District of New York. I therefore invoke my right to silence under the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
All right, that's enough. So, yeah, she just says, like, hey, I've got this other case going on, and I don't, this could jeopardize the other case, so I need to wait until that other case kind of shakes out. And her lawyer said that she is prepared to speak fully and honestly if granted clemency by President Trump. Now, I just genuinely, I mean, I agree with Trump. She's an evil person. She is actually an evil person. She was Jeffrey Epstein's fixer. Like, she went and found these young girls for him. She was a part of all of these. So I don't know that I want her to get clemency, but I need the darkness to be exposed. I don't understand why there are so many redactions to people's names that we should know. They're talking about young girls to Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein's name right there in plain sight, redacted who it's from. Why? Why? So I have some questions for Congress, whether or not they're planning on, once she actually names names, if she does, what happens next, guys? What happens next, James Comer? What are you going to do? Have another strongly worded letter sent to the manager? What is going to happen? What are you going to do, DOJ? You're releasing documents with redactions that we really, it is in the best interest of the public that we know who was ordering little girls. It's kind of a big deal. And I'm not at this point willing to believe that they are going to be totally transparent about that we are actually going to get justice for all of these people who did unspeakable things to little girls. But one thing is clear, President Trump was not one of those people. Make sure that you subscribe to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered on YouTube. Smash the like button. Comment. It'll help us in the algorithm, which we all know is stacked against us. And go on over to Sara Gonzales TX, our new YouTube channel. We're doing some really fun stuff there. And it's kind of, I know, you're like, I don't want to subscribe to both channels. We're doing an experiment that I believe we can tell you about soon, that I believe is going to prove a theory that we have. And on top of that, we're releasing exclusive content like our H1B expose over there at Sara Gonzales TX. So make sure to, it takes you 2 seconds. Just go do it, guys. It's free. Just go do it. Before we get back into it, I want to thank our sponsor, PreBorn. So PreBorn is there for women who they have these unplanned pregnancies and, maybe they're not married and they're scared and they've got their family in their ear. Like, you can't do this alone. You need to go to Planned Parenthood. Just get rid of it. So just suck it out of you. Don't worry. You won't regret a thing. I mean, there are so many lies that are told to these scared women. But if they find themselves at a Planned Parenthood, they're going to hear the lies. If they find themselves at a PreBorn network clinic, what they're going to see and hear is just the truth. It's just the truth. And it's very simple. PreBorn is just, the network of clinics is showing the woman, the baby, in ultrasound and letting her listen to the heartbeat. And those of you who are parents, you know that is a life-changing moment. Now, ultrasounds cost money, $28 to be precise. So how many babies can you help us save? I can't think of a more worthy cause than saving babies. So help us do that by going to preborn.com/Sara. How many ultrasounds can you sponsor? $28 saves the life of a baby. Preborn.com/Sara. Welcome to the show. Back by popular demand, we've got some friendly faces. We've got Matthew Marsden, BlazeTV contributor and an actor and producer extraordinaire here in studio. And we are joined by the one and only Chad Prather, host of The Chad Prather Show, and Before the Noise podcast as well, because I guess Chad Prather is an overachiever. And he's like, oh, look at me. I'm a musical artist. I'm an author. I have 2 podcasts now. Oh, look at me.
Anyway. There's other things I do.
Yeah, okay, I know. We could spend the whole show talking about other things that you do. Is there anything else that you'd like to plug?
You know what? 30 seconds. Let's just do 30 seconds. Like, I'll be in Charlotte and Greenville and Greensboro, North Carolina next weekend doing live shows. Let's go.
There you go. And where can they find that?
WatchChad.com. Sounds like an OnlyFans.
WatchChad.com, where you can find out where to go watch Chad, but you can't watch Chad on that actual website. That's a different website.
That's basically true.
For a different website for a different day. So I'm sure you guys saw this online. I keep saying the left has no floor. Like, there's no floor. They are willing to go as low as it possibly takes in order to preserve their radical agenda. And one of those ways is the way that they are just totally simping for illegal criminals. They've never met an illegal that they didn't like. They've never met an illegal gang member that they didn't like. They want to be a big, happy family with all of the illegals. And one of the new ways that they have tried to defend their position on that is that arguing that illegal criminals, the majority of them, have committed nonviolent crimes. So CBS News published a story yesterday that said that less than 14% of those arrested by ICE in Trump's first year back in office had violent criminal records. Only 14% of those people who were hauled out of their neighborhoods, like the Maryland father, only 14% of those actually had violent criminal records. Well, when you look at the way that they were categorizing it, something curious happens, as Assistant Secretary, Department of Homeland Security Tricia McLaughlin pointed out. Drug trafficking, distribution of child pornography, burglary, fraud, DUIs, embezzlement, solicitation of a minor, and human smuggling are all categorized as, quote, non-violent crimes, which essentially means around 70% of those illegal aliens arrested under Donald Trump and Secretary Noem do have pending criminal charges or prior convictions, which is, like, you would think that we could just all agree that is a good thing, but the left still continues to try to dispute, manipulate, to try to say, no, don't believe your eyes. Don't believe your lion eyes. We're here to tell you they're just coming in and taking everyone's abuelas. Chad, I'll let you speak first.
So this is one of those headline tricks, right? This is emotional bait, and we don't hate the media enough when they do stuff like this. So what they're doing is they're basing their entire story on the phrase violent criminal records. And so it's a sleight of hand, because what they're not asking here is are these people dangerous? They're saying, did a prior conviction meet some certain narrow legal definition of violence? And that's how they're getting away with this. It's a trash deal. We know every one of these things that these people are convicted of or accused of, or things they've stood trial for. All these things that we're talking about can lead to violence. I mean, these are things that ultimately lead to violence. Can you imagine, say, using that percentage, what was it, 14%? Mm-hmm. And then going to say mothers against drunk drivers and saying, okay, of all the drunk drivers that are out there on a Friday and Saturday night on the roads that could potentially kill your child, yep, only 14% of them are truly violent. Right. They're engaged in activity that leads to violence.
Right, exactly.
That leads to harm. So again, this is an emotional bait that the media uses. It's a sleight of hand trick, and it's disgusting.
Yeah. Matt, to Chad's point, it's like drug trafficking kills people. Distribution of child pornography harms people. DUIs, as Chad pointed out, you could end up in loss of American life. Solicitation of a minor, I'm sorry, like we're now making the dispute of like whether or not that counts as a really, really bad crime. Human smuggling, it's like, okay, all right, what are you guys doing here?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at to a point that Chad made there, he touched on, does that mean that to be convicted of a crime, is that the only parameter you have for actually committing a crime? Because right, we don't talk about the people that don't get convicted of a crime that they've done, or they're not picked up for a crime that they've done. For example, coming into the country illegally is a crime. Right? So non-violent though, they walked there. They just walked on over peacefully. But they're not argument. They're not convicted of that, mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. So then they don't have any criminal convictions. And also, in addition, as far as the Somali fraud is concerned, we have no record of where these people come. Well, we know they come from Somalia, but within Somalia, we don't know. We don't have any record of who they are. So how can we verify if they were criminals or not? And my friend Tim Clemente, who's the FBI, was on the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force, told me that people that were in the Black Hawk Down incident, mm-hmm, they're in America now. Like, they are here. And they've been let in, but there's no mention of them having any kind of criminal conviction. So, as Chad said, this is a sleight of hand just across the board, though. The fact of the matter is these people shouldn't be in the country, period. That's it. That's why they all need to go.
Chad, did you notice that Matt, he just had to throw in there the Black Hawk Down reference? Did you notice that?
Yeah, Matt, weren't you the one that fell out of the helicopter? In the no. Is that you?
No, I had the broken arm. The guy that fell out at the helicopter, that was Orlando Bloom, Chad.
Orlando Bloom. I get you two confused. It's crazy. I've seen both of you in full frontal nudity by accident, and it's weird. Him was on camera. You were just in my room for some reason. Listen,
WatchChad.com.
If it was an OnlyFans, I'd be my only fan. Matt, I miss you. I love you. Don't call me. You talk too much. Listen, if the same crimes were committed by American citizens, nobody would argue that these things should be ignored because they're, quote, nonviolent, right? The only reason that this semantic gymnastics routine exists is they're shielding the illegal behavior behind bureaucratic wording. They got the big media narrative involved. And if you don't play along, then you should be ashamed of yourself. This is the same logic they use with you not wanting to watch Bad Bunny on the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to watch Bad Bunny scream expletives and sexual innuendos in Spanish. That's not my type of entertainment. Well, then I must be a xenophobe, a transphobe, or a homophobe, or a racist, or whatever. Mm-hmm. They're doing the same crap with this. You should be ashamed of yourself for calling these people out. To Matt's point, and it's a great one, is we're not talking about grandmas that got caught jaywalking across the Rio Grande to come into the country. These are people who have done damage. And we're not just talking about Hispanics either.
Yeah.
We're talking about 150 different countries represented that have come across the southern border.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, especially with regard that brings up another point with regard to legal immigration as well. Like, I'm doing all of this work on the H-1B stuff, and people are constantly accusing me of being, oh, you just hate Indians. And I'm like, no, I can't help it that Indians are committing the majority of the fraud here. But I just came across an Asian-sounding name. By the way, I'm bringing back Oriental. I think it sounds fancier. So it was like an Oriental name, okay? And
homosexual.
And I'm like, oh, cool, great, there's fraud here. And I got to tell you, if there was like John Smith from England who had a bunch of H-1Bs and they were coming here into this country and taking American jobs, I would still have a problem with it. America has a huge problem right now on so many different fronts of this immigration problem entirely, because it's the illegals and it's also the legals. And all they are doing is siphoning off all of these resources, whether it's, you know, they're killing people, they're violent, they're siphoning off resources in welfare, with Matt's talking about the Somalians, or you're talking about stealing American jobs. I mean, this is a huge problem. And despite all of that, you still have, with regard to the illegal immigration problem, you still have people like dipshit Steve Cohen over in Congress whining about ICE because they're like, you know, doing their jobs, I guess.
We don't know exactly what street crime is, but we know when we say we're going to go in with ICE and take out the people that committed the most serious offenses, the worst of the worst. And we mentioned crime as homicide. We mentioned rape. We mentioned pedophiles. We know who those people are. But they're arresting people simply for the offense of being in the country illegally. It's not right. It's not necessarily something that should cause deportation when they are not committing crimes and they are contributing to the economy. So that's a concern we have.
So I have a big problem with this because should someone be a sitting member of Congress who doesn't understand what the term illegally means? Like, it's in the word illegally. It's already the crime, sir. And yet you have these dipshits in Congress who are like, well, I mean, other than the crime of being here illegally, you guys should just like, why can't you just ignore that? Just overlook it. Just let him in. Come on, be nice, Matt.
Well, as someone who actually did it the right way, it's incredibly frustrating for me. And what it does is, because I can tell you, because when I came here, the mindset behind me coming here was I was going to come to the greatest country the world has ever seen. I was going to do it the right way. Because what I didn't want to do is come in, take advantage of Americans like you and Chad and the other people that are watching. It's a mindset, Sarah. It's really important to understand that. And they just dismiss this. But if you're looking at America and you're like, I don't care, I want to get there, I'm going to break the law to get there. I mean, they kind of romanticize it, right? Oh, look, you know, they're struggling. But we know that that's not true. And
even if they're struggling,
it doesn't matter.
Let's say it is true. It's just not for me to solve, right? It's not for this country to solve everyone else's problems. That's just not a thing that we can do. Like, that would be total destruction of the country. So at a certain point, it's like, okay, I can empathize to a certain degree, but that doesn't necessarily make it my problem.
Yeah, but my point is if the first thing you do when you come into the country is do something illegally, you've already broken down that barrier. Right? And that's why, you know, with the majority of things, like even when do you remember when John McCain, I think it was it John McCain who was mocked for not going to dinner with a woman? Who was it?
No, that was Mike Pence.
Well, you know, anyway, but he was mocked for that. But the principle still stands. Like, don't put yourself in that predicament because you open yourself to a bunch of accusations or things that you shouldn't be doing. And so if you are stepping over the line on anything like that, like if you're stepping over the line on coming into the country illegally, then you've already broken down that one barrier that should stop you from committing further crimes. You know, so how different is it? Oh, I'll just go and get a driver's license and I'll just lie about it? Where do you stop, right? Because you're already on that track. For me, when I came, it's like, it's like the trust. I'm not going to break the law. I'm not going to do it. I've gone this far, so why would I want to break the law now? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, of course, because it shows, Chad, it shows the intention of the person. If you come here and you do it the right way, you obviously respect our way of life, our law and order. But if you come here the wrong way, you like, how can we expect you to respect anything if you've just disregarded our entire law and our sovereignty by way of being here?
And you have no intention of assimilating.
Right.
That's the beauty of what Matt did. Matt came here. He chased the American dream. He saw what he couldn't have in Great Britain. Then he saw what he couldn't have in California. He came to Texas. Each place he made where he went better. And he left because there was a problem in those places. He went, he assimilated. He talks weird, but he's a Texan. So look, if I bring a bunch of dogs, let's say pit bulls out of a fighting ring, okay, let's have we go rescue all of these pit bulls, and then we bring them down to the pound, and we're just going to throw them in gin pop with a whole bunch of poodles that got picked up in the neighborhood, or are we going to keep them separate? No, because again, they're coming out of the world they know, a world where they were subjected to a whole lot of things that were not American values. And when I say something like this, people interpret this, just even the example of this is hate speech. No, it's common sense. Mm-hmm. I have been in places like Honduras where my interpreter only had one arm because somebody had a beef with him, walked into a bar one night with a machete and just cut his arm off and then went home. So if I'm going to, if that's the rules of the land and I'm going to come to America with no intention of assimilating and embracing values, you're going to get what you got in Minneapolis with people who are talking like, I'm here for Somalia, not for American interests, and we're going to change the flag and we're going to push Sharia law. And these people who say they want to protect that, like Cohen, I mean, that dude, that logic is as airtight as a screen door. I mean, the stupidity that these people have, that they peddle out there with no real world experience of what their logic would lead to. I say just let them. I'm at a point now, Sarah, Matt, where just let them have what they say they want. Just figure out a way, let their cities, let them burn, have what you want. If that's what you're going to get, then take it.
Yeah, so it's interesting. And Stephen, I'm not going to ask you to speak or put yourself on screen because I know you're doing a lot right now with myself and two guests. But it's a conversation that Stephen and I have all the time where I'm like, go in there and make sure that they know to respect the federal government because this is federal law. And Stephen's like, or we could just let them implode and as long as we remove the federal funding. That's the other piece. Oh, you did it. Hey, you're so good. So, Stephen, go ahead.
No, I'm like with Chad. I'm kind of just like, as long as you cut their federal funding, let them have all the illegals do all the stuff you want. Who cares? But you have to tie the funding to it. You have
to tie the funding to it. That's completely necessary. And once that illegal walks right on across the border to a nearby state where they are not liked and wanted, it's fair game at that point. I'm creeping closer and closer to being of that position because really only because I just don't trust the federal, it seems like the federal government. Someone is in Trump's ear. I want to know who it is. Someone is in Trump's ear and they're like, actually, what Republicans really want in 2026 is for you to be softer on these illegal criminals. And I don't believe that to be true. But whoever it is that's in his ear is telling him that. And it feels like he's following that advice for right now, Matt.
Yeah, I said this, if you remember a few shows ago, I said that I think that I'm glad that Mamdani won in New York. Let it turn to crap, and everyone's, oh, no, we don't. I was like, no. Let it be an example to everybody of how your state will end up like that if you let these people in. There was a case today I saw in the UK that was a 12-year-old girl was raped by 5 men. I think I sent it to you, right? Raped by 5 men. They videoed it. And they're not from the UK. They're not from the UK. And this, to Chad's point about having different values, if you bring animals in from other countries, and I'm done. I don't care. They don't have the same values as we do. Then your country is going to turn into the shithole that they came from. It's just the way it is. The good thing about the United States is that there's enough people here that have the balls to turn around and say, no, I love my country so much, I am not going to allow this to happen. The UK, it's lost that. It doesn't have the pride in the country anymore, and they've eroded it over years and years and years. But this is what I love about America, and why the flag is so important, and why the national anthem is so important, because it is a uniting thing, but it's also, it says we are proud of this country, and it's essential that we keep that. It's a bulwark against all this.
Yeah, even though, Chad, I'll give you final word on this. I agree with Matt, but be that as it may, we still heard the Black national anthem at the Super Bowl.
And nobody really discusses that much anymore. And I like how they relegated it from as sort of as a precursor to the precursor to the precursor to the precursor of anything that had to do with the game. Now, the girl, she sang it phenomenally. I don't know who she was. Singer. Oh my gosh, incredible. But obviously that's going to be a thing now. We're not going to take our cues from the NFL. If the NFL had a solution, well, then the whole end racism thing that they put on the back of their helmets in the back of the end zone would have fixed it all.
Exactly.
So, you're going to sing your song, you're going to do your thing, whatever, do your thing. I don't even care anymore.
Wait, hold on. Breaking news. You're telling me that putting end racism on the end zone and on their helmets did not, in fact, end racism?
It fixed it for me, but I came to the NFL to get fixed.
Yeah.
It hasn't fixed it for anybody else.
Yeah. That's why I
came to
football.
Assimilate.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a quick break here, and we will be back with more. But I want to remind you guys, if you have not yet gone to BlazeTV, get yourself a subscription. Might I suggest you use promo code Sara over at blazetv.com/Sara. You'll save $20 with promo code Sara over at blazetv.com/Sara. So yesterday we played a clip of Olympic skier Hunter Hess, who, I don't know, he seems like a kind of gay, in my opinion, just a total loser who was like, well, I have some mixed feelings about representing this country in the Olympics right now. I just don't know how to feel about it. Here's that.
It brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now, I think. It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't. If it aligns with my moral values, I feel like I'm representing it. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S. So yeah, I just kind of want to do it for my friends and my family and the people that support me getting here.
Oh my God. Okay. What a wuss. So we played that, and it's just like you don't have to be there for this country. You don't actually have to represent this country. And there is one Olympian who took that very seriously, actually, which was Eileen Gu. So she, at the time, expressed her support for Hunter Hess, and you'll notice by her last name Gu, she's competing for China, but that's not the whole story. She's actually American born, and she entered the conversation and she slammed Trump. She told The Atlantic, I'm sorry that the headline is eclipsing that the Olympics has to be so unrelated to the spirit of the games. And so she entered the chat. Who she is, let me explain to you, because you probably don't know. I didn't either. She was born in America. She was raised in San Francisco. She trained in this country with U.S. ski and snowboard. She was educated by Stanford University, which is probably why she's such a dipshit. And she is competing in her second Olympic Games representing China, representing Matt.
China.
Thank you. She has an American father and a Chinese mother who was first-generation Chinese immigrant to the United States. So now she has been afforded all of these luxuries from this country, and she chose to take her talents over to the Chinese Communist Party, where they do unspeakable things to innocent civilians. And on top of that, has made millions in endorsements from her decision to represent China instead of the United States. So it's like $23 million that she's making from going off and representing China. How absolutely disgusting can you be? Now, I want to show you, I want to get your thoughts on this, guys, but I want to play first. She was interviewed and the guy was like, hey, cool outfit. And she's like, thanks. Can I explain to you all of the details of this outfit? And he's like, okay. And it was just virtue signaling galore. Watch.
What a beautiful outfit.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Can I talk about it really quick?
Yeah.
I designed this. It's one of one. It's my name on it.
Oh wow, it's custom made.
It is custom. It's one of one. Here's me. And the inspiration was China, like the ceramic. So instead of like a big flag, I wanted something really cultural and tangible that people would be able to easily recognize and think, oh wow, that's like a Chinese element. So this is a dragon. It's embroidered with gold, and it's the blue and white like the ceramic. I also have a little compass and a thermometer here.
Wow.
So in case you get lost, I can tell you which way is north.
What would you rate my outfit? You're a supermodel. What do you think about
I mean, I feel like it's super unique. If you're comfortable and warm, then it's a 10 out of 10.
I'm comfortable and warm, so that's perfect.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
He's like, I'm comfortable and warm. Like, you're not wearing the dress, you idiot. I don't even understand why that guy said it, but we have to look at this girl who clearly looks like she's white. She just looks like a white girl. I understand that's not her heritage, who was able to do all of this off of the back of this country. I mean, look, I get it. Her last name's Gu. Woo, whatever. But she's walking around with, all of these luxuries from America. And then she turns around and takes her talents that she was able to achieve from us and takes them to China. And then on top of that, Chad wants to lecture us on Donald Trump and ICE, I guess.
Oh, Sara Gonzales, you make me laugh. You make me laugh. We live in a world where ideas are constructed without adult supervision. This is what happens when confidence outruns comprehension. I want to think of the biggest, most hyperbolic way to call something stupid. This is stupid. I hate the Olympics. I hate it every time it comes around. I don't care what they're doing, summer or winter. I don't know these people. I don't like these people. They're all silver spoon fed. They all got fine china shoved up their ass. I can't stand China. No pun intended. Look what I did. China doesn't allow free speech, censors any dissent. It detains any ethnic minorities. That little golden dragon on her thing with the compass was probably put together by Uyghur slaves under human violations. They control immigration and movement of its own citizens, by the way. They don't allow mass illegal immigration. They don't tolerate public criticism of the government. They don't allow open protest against any type of enforcement, certainly border enforcement. They don't permit dual loyalty when it conflicts with state interests. They would never allow a Chinese citizen to publicly condemn any policies the way she just condemned America. And she's going to sit up there and bitch about this? There is not enough words in the human vocabulary to describe how stupid, vapid, empty-headed, and moronic this chick is.
I couldn't have
Ignorance.
said that better myself. Yeah, it is really, I tend to not be surprised by this, but there's sometimes where you're just like, wow, you are really retarded, Matt.
What, you're really retarded, Matt?
Not for
I was
you.
like, what?
Man, Matt, you are retarded. No.
Okay. Look, how many people are in China?
I don't actually know that number.
1.5 billion.
$1.5 billion, right?
Got to be $1.5 billion, right?
And they still have to come to America to get their skiers. I'm just saying, like, they copy everything that we do anyway. They copy our intellectual property because, communists aren't allowed to free think. And so now it shows you, if you got 1.5 billion people, you should not have anyone other than someone who is ethnically Chinese from China in that team. But guess what? The commies don't make good skiers. Secondly, why didn't you do the interview in Chinese?
That's what I don't get. It's like you're not speaking the language. You just went over there. It's not like you had any interest to be formally educated there, and now all of a sudden you're representing the country. That's absurd.
It's ridiculous. Look, it's the same thing when people go on about this Bad Bunny thing. It's like, oh, it's the most watched, Super Bowl halftime show ever. It doesn't matter, because what matters is the economic power of the United States and the people who are watching it here. Like, nobody's going to go and you think there's a mass rush of people going out to buy her ski uniform in China? I've worked in China. I can tell you, you've got like the big power centers and everyone else is in abject poverty. This is true, guys. Can I say it? I was doing a movie in China.
Oh my gosh.
And
here we go.
but
I was on Black Hawk Down. Also,
did he fall out of a helicopter in China too?
I did a full frontal in China as well, Chad. You weren't there, but but I did see someone. This is not a joke. I saw a farmer squatting and pooing on his own vegetables. Like, that's how difficult it is over.
Not even on the neighbors?
No, on his own.
Oh my gosh.
So they're not rushing out to go and buy her gear, let me tell you.
Free fertilizer. That's what that is.
Yeah.
No, well, Chad, I do. So Chad says he's never really watched the Olympics. I felt the same way. Like, I don't ever really know what the big deal is. I don't even know which one I find to be more boring, winter or summer. There are a lot of people who are all about it and know everything and can't wait. And I just don't get it.
So remember, there's irony in this. You remember the last Winter Olympics? That was in China. That was in Beijing, right? They literally had to build a winter city. Oh. They didn't even have a cold weather there. It was in the middle. If they zoomed out, they built like this big bowl base, and all of the events were in this like manufactured environment. China they couldn't even manufacture a real winter. And if you zoomed out, it was slums all around it.
Right.
And they built this little oasis utopia winter city for the Olympics. And then she's going to say, oh, I'm so proud. Shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, go live there, learn Mandarin. Obviously, she doesn't know it. Goo.
Represent.
That's what that guy
Goo.
did. He gooed on his plants.
Oh, I mean, I could have done
goo.
I could have done. Oh my god. Or is it goo poo? I don't really know. Matt,
that's a brand.
Did you like? Is England any different? Do people like go crazy for the Olympics there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they do. They do. It's a big deal.
They still think about the royalty people, though. And that we know those pedos are.
No, listen, it is a big deal. I mean, and the funny thing is, I remember watching, it was a 400-meter and 200-meter runner called Michael Johnson. It's probably the greatest 400 and 200-meter runner of all time, who's American.
Yeah.
And he actually commentates over there now. And when I remember coming over, and nobody knew who he was.
Interesting.
It's just a different thing. You know, that's why I was trying to explain to people, like, I would tune in to watch the Super Bowl halftime show in the UK, but I wouldn't watch the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we didn't really care about the football. Now that's changing. It's becoming a bigger market.
Right.
But again, so with that stupid, I know you've spoken about it, but with that stupid halftime show that they did, that alienates a massive market. Everyone's like, oh, it expands the market. Spain doesn't give a damn about the Super Bowl. They don't care. It's not promoting it.
Yeah.
It just isn't. It's an entertainment thing by itself for the rest of Europe and the rest of the world.
Yeah, the problem is, I don't know until Roger Goodell feels it in the pocketbook and Americans actually just say we've had enough, I just don't know that he's going to care. He's just going to continue slapping his own consumers in the face. All right, I've got one more quick story I want to get into with you guys, and I don't know if you've been prepared for this, but I hope that you haven't, because you're not gonna. It's disgusting. It's worse than goo poo. I'll just put it that way.
Oh.
So we'll get into that when we return. We'll be right back. Drexel University, I regret to inform you, has hosted a grotesque drag queen sex toy bingo event on campus, actually, where, that is, boy, when I think of drag queens, I think of sex toys. And it was sponsored by Drexel's Campus Activities Board. And they said that they wanted to do it to promote or to destigmatize, I guess, sexual health and promote body positivity in a fun, welcoming environment. And that's why they gave out goodie bags with condoms, lubes, and educational pamphlets. I don't know what if you're of college age and you still have not yet gotten your education on what sex is, you're probably screwed. I don't think anyone can help you, Matt.
No, I've said this over and over again. If you just send your kids to a woke college, then you're going to lose them. They're either going to become a drag queen or they're going to go and do some kind of sport for China. So take your pick, really.
Yeah, Chad, Bill Gates probably could have used those condoms.
Yeah, and to Matt's point, I will say this, because he makes an excellent point. You know what? Whether your kids get converted to some kind of nonsense of just perversion like this or not, they're at least going to be influenced by it. I mean, they're going to be influenced. You can't protect your kids if you send them into this type of environment. Why are we doing this? Why are we throwing them to the wolves? I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. You got people who find their entire identity by where they can stick things in their body, and they're throwing parties over it and making games out of it. And I'm like, why are we going to keep subjecting a whole generation of Americans to this stuff and calling that normal? It's disgusting.
Yeah, and I mean, it's gotten to the point, because I know people will say well, if you don't like it, don't send your kids there. If you don't like drag queen storytime hour, don't send your kids there. I'm like, well, there's a point to be made about culture, because I don't send my kids there. And in fact, my kids are very insulated, and I can send my kid to a homeschool co-op and he can come home and ask me why Bad Bunny wears a dress. I'm still dealing with it, because when culture is rotted, it affects everyone, even the people who try to stay above it. So it's just it's incredible that parents are paying. I would love to know how much, let's see if I can look this up before the time runs out, how much Drexel University costs. Drexel.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And parents are sending their kids there. And that's what they're receiving from the actual school. I just can't believe this is still happening. $82,000 to $84,000 a year when you include tuition and housing and food.
But they get free lube.
They're like, I paid for a year of tuition at Drexel University, and all I got was this condom and lube.
Well, they should do, really, because they're getting screwed because they're not getting an education. So
the lube turns out to be really helpful. By the way, just as a reminder, it's exit only, guys. It is exit.
Just ask that dude in China pooping on his plants.
He knows full well it is exit only until he then eats the vegetables that he pooped on. Anywho, Chad, tell everyone again where they can find you.
WatchChad.com. Join me every Monday through Friday, every morning at 7 a.m. Eastern for Before the Noise on all the places.
Yeah, this guy, I don't know how he does it. He doesn't sleep. He's up early doing this podcast. It's crazy. Matt, where can everyone find you?
Matthew D. Marsden on YouTube and on X. And all the others as well, actually.
All the others as well. You can find me at AmericanBeautyBySara.com. Go get your makeup and skincare, whatever your heart desires. We'll see you guys tomorrow.